everybody, and welcome to Cope with Hope. Today, I'm having a chat with Indrani, who is a Reiki master and a scalar practitioner, scalar wave practitioner. She was in the IT profession, and then a back injury got her thinking about her passion in life. Animals are not only the love of her life, but they've always been her guides and her allies. So she thought this is the time to give back to them and started the Way of Artemis, a practice where she heals animals with Reiki as well as she does scalar wave practice with them. I don't know what scalar wave is, so let's get Indrani on immediately to tell us what is it that she's been doing. Thanks, Indrani, for agreeing to come on and share with us your passion for animals.
Thank you so much, Nandini. And when you first told me about this show, I was a little nervous, and I'm still a little nervous. So, but I think when it comes to talking about animals, it's like something clicks and something just changes. And it's been like that, I think, since I was a child. It's if between humans and animals, it's always been animals. And I think there are many others like me, which I'm discovering that, this is just huge bond that people have with animals. And it's just nice to find that there are others like me as well.
Yeah.
I think apart from, generally just being in love with them, and my family was kind of mixed. My father was very, very happy with animals around him, and also we used to live in a house. So I grew up in Assam, in Guwahati, and we had a house. In those days, Guwahati was still not the big city that it is now. And snakes used to wander into our house. And my father was, these snakes, they are good snakes. You should feed them because, they are your protectors.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with that kind of an environment. And we had another house, which was, my uncle's house, and they had a pet snake, so they would feed the snake. And I grew up with that, the snakes and the dogs and all of it. And much later, when I was working, I was in Mumbai, and I used to do these really late night hours, and then I would come back, and that stretch of road was slightly deserted. And then there was this pack of street dogs. They would just kind of follow me. And my friends used to say, "Oh, street dogs, be careful, they can bite you." And my father would say, "No, they are protecting you. Make friends with them."
Yes.
So that was how it was with me. And then much later, cats actually came much later. I was going through a very bad stretch, and I had gone to meet someone. And then there was this cat who just kind of jumped onto the table and sat. I was writing something. So this guy, he came and sat on that piece of paper, and he would not move. And then this other person, she said that, "Oh, but this cat is not friendly. She doesn't go to anyone. So, this is the first time he's doing that." So I think slowly things started shifting. Then I also kind of, I managed to end up with 2 cats. So the 2 cats ended up with me. And that it has been going on.
So Indrani has a passion for cats. She's always had cats ever since she fell in love with the first cat. And I think her relationship with them is wonderful. It's so loving, and they share a very deep bond. So Indrani, tell me a little bit about the practice that you do and the healing techniques that you do for animals. And is it for all animals or just for house pets?
The healing is for all animals. There is no discrimination as such. I do Reiki and as well as scalar wave, and they are the same. It's just the difference in technique and the steps and all those kind of stuff. But at the core of it is all the same. So it's all about working with energy and energy healing. To me, very personally, and this is not some official definition that I found anywhere, but this is how I have connected with Actually, energy healing connection is also a story. Do you want me to tell that story?
Yes, I want you to
Or
tell us the story of energy healing connection.
because that's an amazing story. That event, it just shifted my life, wonderfully. Um, Artemis, after whom Way of Artemis is named, is actually my cat, and I lost her. It's about 10 years now. And when Artemis left, I was in. It was a brutal time for me. I was just traumatized because the way she left, it was just it was too much. And while I was dealing with my own stuff, which was really intense, Artemis had a sibling. He's also gone now. His name was Amadeus. And I love him. He's a baby boy. So Amadeus went into depression because the two of them were very close. They kind of, if one fell sick, the other would start crying. So I could not really figure out which one needs medical attention. They were that close. And Amadeus went into a major depression. He stopped eating, he would not sleep, he would cry, and cats don't really cry the way he did at that time. The vet said, there is really nothing much to do. There is nothing I can do about this. He's probably going to go as well. And then I was desperate. I did not know what to do. And I don't know what happened. It was just like a chance thing. I was reading the newspaper and there was this one line there, animal Reiki, contact Priya Rajagopalan. I said, okay, I don't know what animal Reiki is, but why not? So that incident, it just changed my life. I took her to Priya, took him to Priya. And she just sat there, and she sat there with her hands like this, and Amadeus roamed around and cried and hollered and did all the Amadeus tantrum stuff that he does. And then after that 30 minutes he fell asleep, and then he slept for like 12, 13 hours. He slept because he has not been sleeping the last few days. And then when after that he was almost back to normal, like I would say 99%. And then after a few follow-up sessions, he was just back to being Amadeus. And that was so amazing.
So Priya Rajagopalan is my sister, and she does Reiki healing for animals. And she has always loved animals. Even long before she became a Reiki healer, if there was an animal in pain, she could just go towards it and calm it down. So I've seen my sister do this from when she was very, very young. Like donkeys literally come to her doorstep who are in pain, eagles, you name it. If something is hurt, if an animal is hurt, somehow they used to find her way to her bungalow in those days. Now she lives in a flat. But it's amazing what my sister does. And I will put her link below if any of you need to contact her for animal Reiki. Thank you, Indrani, for talking about that. And now tell us about how you then started becoming a Reiki healer for animals.
So that was my hook. I got hooked onto Reiki. And Priya took Amadeus under her wings. She also took me. I was another stray cat wandering around lost. She also took me under her wings. And then she became my teacher, my mentor, everything. So the years I've worked with her has changed me. I will start crying if I start talking much. But I think where I am right now, it's because of the work I've done with her.
How beautiful that is. And what is scalar wave? She's also your Reiki master, your Reiki teacher. Wow. What is scalar wave therapy? So if you want to do Reiki, contact Priya. I'll write her link below. What is scalar wave therapy?
Scalar wave is also a mode of energy healing. As I said, both Reiki and scalar wave will take you to that same space, same kind of state.
Okay.
The difference is scalar wave. So one, Reiki is much more ancient. It started with Usui, as you know, in Japan and all. Scalar wave was more recent. There was a lot of scientific background to it, and someone discovered scalar wave while experimenting in labs. And then much later on, there was this person, Valerie Hunt, who discovered that scalar wave can actually be used for healing purposes as well. In very simplistic terms, because I don't understand the scientific terms too much, but what it means is that two waves of the same frequency, when they come together, they form a space which is a healing space. So she later on went to identify that a lot of healing techniques, when they talk about the energy and the healing, it is all about the same kind of energy being held, which is what scalar wave also does. And the way it works, it is much more useful when there is a lot of internal damage, like cell repair and tissue repair and all that has to happen. Scalar helps a lot. I think I would probably call that out. And what I normally do in the Way of Artemis things is I combine the two. So I start with scalar way because it involves a lot of clearing out and all that. And once that kind of done, stage is set, then I just get into the Reiki gear.
That's lovely. So Indrani, before we finish, what is it that you'd like to tell our audience about their special animals in their lives?
Okay, so the little work that I have done so far, I've met a few people and heard them talk about their animals and everything that they go through. And the one thing that I find in common is that it is very important for the person himself or herself to be in a good space, because animals catch on our vibes so much faster. So they know, they sense. So if I am depressed, my cat will know immediately that I am depressed. Or if there's something going on with me, the cat senses that. And somehow they start reflecting that same energy. So if, let's say, a dog is, in a lot of pain and your heart is breaking, you want to do everything for the dog. It's normal, it's natural, it is bound to happen. But also realize that the dog is catching on to that energy. And the dog, when I do the work with the dog is quite okay. The dog is more accepting of the situation because it's a part of life, and animals understand the flow of cycles and nature much easier.
Yes.
But they find it difficult to deal with the human's emotions. They're much more comfortable with their own emotions. So I think the only thing I would say is that love your dog, love your cat, love all animals, but also make sure that you are in a safe and grounded space and you're not passing on things that you don't want to pass on to them.
That's really lovely. So what is it that you do to stay in a safe and grounded space?
It's a very simple thing. Just take a few minutes out. So what do I do personally? I think that is a very good thing to start from, is just for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes is sufficient. Just disconnect from everything and just be with yourself. I used to do that when I was taking a lot of calls and meetings. So when the meetings got very intense, I would just keep the cats outside because, I don't want them intervening in the meeting. But the same technique works here as well. Just find a space where you're outside of everything, just for 5 minutes, and then just be with yourself. Don't meditate, just be with yourself.
Okay, so will you do 1 minute of that and show us how? Will you take us through this process just for 1 minute so that everybody can use it in their lives?
All right, sure.
Yeah.
So the trick is to just sit, do not meditate, not give into any distractions. If the phone rings, let it ring. If there's a WhatsApp beep, let it beep. Just kind of let it all be as it is. Nothing needs touching, nothing is intervening. And just sit. You see a lot of things happening outside, a lot of thoughts coming. That's fine, thoughts can come. If you're not meditating, it doesn't matter if thoughts come. That's it. Just be like that for a minute. Okay.
Wow, that was lovely. So you do it just for 5 minutes. I'm going to do this today in my meditation, and I'm going to dedicate it to you. It's lovely. It's not a meditation. It's just being with yourself. It's lovely. Wow. Thank you, Indrani. That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Nandini.
And what I love about life is you can always learn something new. Wow, I'm thrilled. That was just lovely. Thank you so much for coming to my show. And guys, do this. Just take out 5 minutes doing nothing. Don't meditate, just doing nothing. Thank you. Bye, Indrani.